Well, I think it's time for us to roll into topic number 2. But first, I'm going to drink more beer. Mario, can I get that topic number 2, please?
You got it. As in it's there.
Oh, you're already there? Whoops, sorry about that. All right, topic number 2. We're going to talk about the Houston Outlaws for their entire season. We are going to do not necessarily analysis per se, but just what we've seen from their offseason.
Oh, I'm breaking it down by stage.
Season.
So,
homie's got the breakdown.
So,
damn. All right,
so
let's go. Take it away.
So the Houston Outlaws going into season 2. As you guys know, we started off very strong in the Junkrat era. You already know about the Jake Rat. It's a well-known thing in esports now. It's actually a cultural phenomenon, if I'm being modest. Jake was that guy. Eventually, the Junkrat meta left. So once that meta left, then the Tracer meta came in. The dive meta was in full effect. And the Outlaws were not prepared last season, and we floundered. Stage 2 and 3, we were decent, but not great. We were lacking that Tracer player, that flanker player that could do what we needed to do. We had no Genji or Tracer player, as I mentioned. We brought in Arhan, who was a Genji player. Never really saw anything in the season. Drunken or idiot, remember, pick one. So we never really saw Arhan flourish on the Genji during the middle of the stages, stage 2 or stage 3. And in stage 4, we had another mediocre performance. So we were pretty much middle of the road.
I want to stop you there. When did we see Arhan really play for the Outlaws? Other than stage 3, did he really play much in stage 4?
No, he did not play in stage 4. He played in stage 3, brought him in for a couple maps sparingly to sub out Jake. And he didn't make the impact that we were all expecting, which is why we switched it up and put Linkster on the Genji. And I'm like, he's such a great hit scan player. Why is he playing Genji?
I think we put AKM on Genji, so we can really complain.
Yeah, I mean, y'all became a meme. At least,
Yeah, at least we got that out of it.
At least Jake didn't become a Tracer meme with how bad it was. He wasn't that bad. He got better as the season went on, but not enough to handle the Sabiolis and the Prophets, who were just mad great Tracer players, in their own right. Bunny, too, towards the end of the season. So we were basically mediocre, upper tier mediocre during a lot of season 1. Season 2, we pick up Dante,
which is an exciting pickup. I'm not gonna act like it's not. That's a really good pickup.
Picks up that flanker role. He can play the Genji, Sombra, Tracer. But we did lose quite a bit. We lost Fact Fiction, Mendo, who was supposed to be another Tracer player from season 1. Had his own type of mentality and wasn't really ready to pick up on the stage in season 1. So he's now just a streamer for us. So we've lost both of them. So it's going to be an clockwork as well. So we try to get people in that could fill that role, and it was never filled. So Dante's here. We know he's a solid stand-in on that flanker role. So that was really our main off-season move. So what I've done here, so we've got 4 stages, obviously, in the Overwatch League. We have a tough schedule. Let's put it that way.
I want y'all to know, this homie wrote a write-up about this segment, okay? Like, I usually just do, like, a little bit of nice, okay, here's the show notes. Nah, he took the extra mile. Kudos.
Hey,
Kudos.
Listen, I support my team, the Outlaws. I'm in here for the long haul. Guys, we got this. I think you're going to surprise a lot of people. Because just because you make one move and make more subtractions and additions doesn't mean you're a worse team.
Right.
So you got to take into account our chemistry and what we've already built as a team together.
Well, I want to... You mentioned how, like, a lot of people are, like, giving you guys doubts, right? Mm-hmm. So, I mean, I try to keep up with the analysts and the top-tier people from the greater Overwatch community. A lot of people in the power rankings are putting Houston in the lower echelon, if not like tier 3, tier 4.
I think I think it's unwarranted, to be honest. I think that they're just putting that because nothing splashy happened.
True.
Nothing like we didn't do some huge signing or change colors or we're not a new team. Like, these are people that are consistently at the top of the Overwatch ladder and just continue to play and grind the game. And I think what goes underrated in Overwatch, being the team sport, these guys know how to play together. Like, they really do.
Even though you have, like, players, like, I'm sure I've seen Muma, like, in the top ranks for, like, tank and everything. You may have players that are in the top, but the team didn't, like, because if you remember, the Outlaws never went to a stage final. One of them went to the stage 1 finals.
Yes.
So I can't say never. But that was it.
True.
Like, do you feel that might be that's not gonna happen again?
I think that their experience of going through the season one once helps them. That they've gone through a whole Overwatch League season together.
True.
Most other teams, aside I think from like London and Seoul, who haven't really changed too much. Well, Seoul, kind of switched stuff around, but they just brought in a new tank. But I think that as an Outlaws fan, you would have to bank on that, right? Yeah. I mean, you can't be down on the team saying, "Oh, we didn't make enough moves. We just suck. We're just terrible." Yeah. You don't want to say that. You want to hope that they've built this relationship over the offseason, that they've been grinding these characters and these new heroes. Muma's Wrecking Ball is going to be a force in the Overwatch League.
Really
I will tell you that right now. So that's going to be a force. So I think that they have a shot, and I think they're very underrated. So I'll start with their Stage 1 schedule here. So their Stage 1 schedule, they play Toronto, Boston, Hangzhou Charge, NYXL, Mayhem, Valiant, Atlanta.
Okay, I want to talk through those because most of those I'm sitting here like, ooh, those are gonna be tough games. Obviously, Nixel. Like, we don't want to say the Outlaws are gonna lose right away, but Nixel is one of the strongest teams, if not the strongest team in the league. Hangzhou Charge definitely are going to be a strong team.
They're a fan favorite. They're a fan favorite. So.
They have amazing colors. Their logo is a fucking anime
what
reference.
Does their logo have to do with their play? It does everything.
Okay, you're right. But the fact that they brought in like Crystal and who's they got Gushwei as well, right? Mm-hmm. If you watched the World Cup last year, Crystal and Gushwei popped off so many times. Mm-hmm. They took the Chinese team to the finals against South Korea. Do you know how difficult that is?
So I will say this, and I'm gonna bring up. I guess I'm that guy. I'm the T-sports guy, along as the esports guy. In traditional sports, who won the Super Bowl this past year?
The Patriots.
Who was the most boring team to watch in football with no one on their team that you probably know aside from Tom Brady? Who else on that team?
The Patriots.
Consistency is key in a lot of these things, and I think that goes underrated. And I think what the Outlaws will do is they will surprise a lot of these teams. Toronto, the Charge, and Atlanta are the splash teams, right? They got the Fran, they've got these players. Well, I think they win all three of those games.
I will give you Toronto and Atlanta. Because Toronto does not really have any huge playmakers. Mm-hmm. All they have is the old main coach from the Spitfire, I think, is who they brought on.
I'm not sure.
They have an old popular main coach, and none of their players are really from at least. Mm-hmm. Okay, hold up, nah. Let's bring up the Overwatch League app, the official source for your Overwatch League news and content.
Where you can find the official roster.
So okay, going to the Toronto Defiant. That's the schedule. How do I look at the team? What? Okay, more from. All right. Why is it so hard? Yo, Blizzard. Okay, sorry for your layoffs. But for real.
We apologize twice now. Once in the actual recording, but. I'm sorry about that.
I don't really see Toronto coming out and being something. I don't want to say good, right? Because Toronto's an all-Korean team, and Koreans, statistically speaking, do end up usually being better than their Western counterparts. Yes. However, when you have a team that's completely unknown or not really known all too well, what are you supposed to do? I mean, look at Shanghai, right?
True.
Do you follow Action Esports?
Yes.
Did you watch their Power Rankings video?
I did not watch their Power Rankings video because they've been all over the board across all the Power Rankings videos I've watched. So
here's a serious surprise. They put the Shanghai Dragons in the top tier with Nixel and London.
See, this is my whole thing with these Power Rankings, right? Honestly, in my opinion, I think no one knows. I think no one knows.
Remember when everybody thought the Fuel was going to take off and be the best team in the world? And guess what? Oh, we kind of sucked for the first 3 stages, and then we picked up a little bit stage 4.
At least that was warranted in the fact that it was a whole new season and a whole new league.
True.
At this point, you have a better idea for the 12 teams, I guess, that were already there. You have an idea of what they're about and the players that they have. These 8 new teams, they just basically threw half of them are contenders teams and half are just pickups from Korea. They just throw them on teams, and all of a sudden, no one knows where to plug them.
Well, you say 8 new teams. I do want to make a minor correction. I want to make it 10 new teams because Shanghai and Florida blew themselves up.
Oh, okay.
Shanghai only kept Guguri, Otto. No, they got rid of Otto. Oof. Who do they keep? I know they kept Guguri.
They made a lot of changes, to put it mildly.
That's simple enough.
Yeah,
simple enough.
Okay, I think that's fair. I think so. You have 10 teams, which I think further proves my point, right? Because there's 10 new teams in there. So people are just like, I think this team looks good. Well, I think this team looks good. I've seen this guy stream. I think he looks good.
Right.
So I think there's a lot of, I think in this way, I think this benefits Houston. Because I think we can just say, like, you know what, just we're just on the back burner. No one talks about us, no. And then sure enough, we come in here like, oh, Outlaws keep kind of winning here. Why do they keep winning out of nowhere?
And then that's also what I've noticed is whenever the teams are underestimated, they're the ones that tend to surprise.
Look at Boston in stage 3 when it took over the entire stage. Everyone's like, wait, what? Well, where did Boston Uprising come from?
Which, by the way, so Shanghai, speaking of them, they got Gamsu from the Uprising because their main tank got sick. So they got one of the better main tanks in the league. So it's like, Shanghai might actually be scary this season.
Yeah, I think. Well, they have to be, right? I mean, they can only improve. I don't think you can't. You technically can't get worse than not winning a game.
With the worst record in all of professional sports, not just esports, professional sports.
So you have two teams, right? You have.
Oh my God.
You have the Shanghai Dragons and the Cleveland Browns. And the Detroit Lions. Those are 3 teams that were the worst ever. Went through a whole season to not win a game.
Oh my God.
So congratulations, esports. You're in love with traditional sports. You have a team that has a record for never winning a game.
I'm sorry, but like that is... I really do hope that Shanghai gets the redemption season this season. Like, I know this is the Outlaws section. I'm sorry for talking about Shanghai so much.
No, this is fine.
But I really want them. I want them to win. Like
I want them to win one, and then I don't care at that point. At that point, they're not my team. So I'm sorry, Overwatch.
They got their first win, but the fact that they have so much of Kongdu Panthera, the fact that they have Gamsu and Gaguri on their main tank line, that is an amazing tank line right there.
And I think at first they didn't really take it seriously. I don't want to say that. Okay, someone bought this team, invested a lot of money for this team to be good. And then once they realized the meme that the Dragons became once they wouldn't win a match, they're like, okay, we need to reset this and build an actual team.
Yeah.
Especially in a region like China, which is one of the most heavily populated places on Earth. You know, if you get a big team there, people are going to watch. There's money to be made there. So, and now you have 3 teams in China. So it's like, oh, we need to go ahead and step our game
What
up.
do you think about the fact that I think Chengdu is the only team that's all Chinese? Guangzhou, Shanghai, and Guangzhou are all either mixed or all Korean teams.
Yeah, I think that there's some sort of, I want to say there's some sort of pride there, right? I would assume so. I don't know. Obviously, I am not Chinese. But I think there's some sort of pride in that. That's why their first roster was all Chinese.
Yeah.
Shanghai Dragons roster was all Chinese. Unfortunately, that region is known amongst the community to be one of the lower tier regions across the board. Them in Australia, sorry to say, the Pacific region over there.
And South America can keep up.
South America is not. They're right below, North America.
Yeah.
North America, Europe, Korea, then you kind of go South America. But Australia and that Asia Pacific region with China is kind of known to be a little flaky when it comes to the skill level.
When you talk about like prideful teams, obviously, so you have the Seoul Dynasty, all Korean roster. Mm-hmm. You have the Paris Eternal, all European roster, and the Houston Outlaws, well, Arhan. But he's the only Korean on that roster.
Right.
Everyone else on the Outlaws roster, and Linkser. All
Linkser's
Western
Finnish.
team.
Yeah, Linkser's Finnish.
Well, would you consider Finland Western? I mean, yes, in a sense that if you divide it at Europe. So if you take European and a North American, yes, in that regard. When you consider West versus East, you usually consider Europe and North America. Most of the players in the Outlaws are American. Mm-hmm. Which, I mean, that's one reason why I think that they get such a following, too, is because they really can be the ones that are the USA chants. Although I guarantee when Washington goes on, that's all you're going to hear.
Oh, of course, yeah.
I mean, their colors are literally red, white, and blue. Which is
appropriate, right? They actually match their teams, too. The Washington Nationals, Washington Wizards, and the Washington Justice.
I never realized that.
Are all red, white, and blue. Which makes sense because it's Washington D.C.
Well,
except for the Redskins, but we don't want to go there. We don't want to go there. All right, let me get back to my season preview here. So,
see, this is Texas Watch, where we get off track and just go with it.
So, pretty much. So my season preview here, I have Toronto is our first match of the season.
Okay.
This coming Friday, watch at 6 p.m. Central.
I expect that to be a W. I'm not going to lie.
Yes, I think that'll be a W. Toronto's new. They're not used to the stage. We've been here before. We win. Next match against Boston. I'm taking that as a W. I think we beat Boston.
Their roster looks super weak this season, too.
I mean, but they're surprised, too. I mean, you never... Boston,
True.
I don't know.
They surprised us last season.
They did, which is the whole... I'm taking it as a W, but a very close W. I'll put it mildly. All right, so I'll be hesitant with that. Hangzhou Charge. I think that's an L. I think we do lose that one.
Yeah.
I think we lose that one because at this point, that team has had a couple matches under their belt, and they know exactly kind of what they're doing, and their roster's pretty stacked. So I'll take that as a loss.
And their colors are the fucking shit.
It's my logo on my Overwatch profile, so their actual team logo. Because it's pretty cool. I will say the NYXL, I think that's a loss. I think they're still just top tier.
And now that
Overwatch
they have
team.
Flower as their another DPS on their team,
it's just ridiculous.
So you have Pine, Sabiobi, Flower. Who else is on the Nixel? They didn't get rid of anybody last season.
Does it really
did they?
matter? They have Jonak. Does it really matter?
Yeah.
They have the MVP from last season, so like they're doing fine.
Okay. Yeah.
So they're 2-2. Florida Mayhem next. We win that.
Yeah.
We
have you watched their most recent little op-ed that they did?
No, I have not.
So Florida, as we mentioned earlier in the show, completely wiped out their entire roster and then brought on a bunch of new people.
I think that hinders them. I think those 10 teams that we mentioned that do that,
yeah.
I think they have a lot. I think they're at a disadvantage unless those people are already from the Overwatch League. Unless people that have been brought up from contenders in different regions.
They have a lot to prove.
And a lot to learn, too. It's a totally different environment. It's a totally different environment going from wherever you were to being a professional player. I think
very true.
Which is why last season the whole thing about mental stability and mental health was a big deal because these kids like, whoa, I went from playing in my living room, whatever. I won't say basement. They went from playing in my living room, my dining room, whatever, to now being on a stage and getting paid and having to do trainings and scrims and now I have to be at the team house. And like, I got to move across country from like people from Korea and stuff. So it's totally different. So I think it goes underrated. Stage 1, I think it's going to really show that those new teams are going to be exposed.
You said Stage 2 is when they're playing the Mayhem?
Stage 1. This is still Stage 1.
Stage 1. Oh, okay.
This is Stage 1, Week 2, I believe, actually.
Okay. So yeah, I expect that to be a W.
Yeah, I think so, too. I think we're 3-2 at this point. And then the last 2 games are Valiant and Atlanta. So I think the Valiant, I'm on the... I don't know.
That's going to be a close game.
That's going to be a very close game, but I'm going to give it a W. That's because the Outlaws are that good. So...
Okay.
I'll give it a W there, and then we play the Atlanta Reign, and I think we also win that. So I think the only 2 matches we lose in Stage 1...
Are Nixel
and the Charge. Charge. So I think we go 5-2 there, and looking pretty good for Stage 1, somewhere in the top tier. Now let's go to Stage 2. Stage 2, I think we do really well in. And I know you're going to hear some of my picks here. You're going to be like, what are you talking about? But hear me out.
Okay.
Vancouver Titans, win. I think that's a win
against
there.
Runaway?
I think it's a win against Runaway. As I told you before, yes. I think that these people are new to this league. They got to pay their dues, and they're not going to be ready.
Okay.
I think we beat Runaway. So I think we beat Runaway. Next is the Fusion.
Be honest. Be honest here. Suck in your pride. Be honest here.
Okay, it's a loss. Yeah, I have that as a loss. I have that as a loss to the Philadelphia Fusion. I'll be truthful with that. So I think it's Stage 2 we're 1-1 at that point. Shanghai Dragons, then the Seoul Dynasty. I think we beat both of them. I think we were close to the Seoul Dynasty even last year in Season 1.
I'd agree with that.
Especially when it started to flounder. So I think they do have their new tank, and Fissure is now their main tank now from the Gladiators.
So Ryu Jaehyun can go back on here like he's supposed to.
Right. Ryu Jaehyun main tank, really? So Ryu Jaehyun should not be there.
That was a weird part of the season.
It was a very weird part of the season. So I think that we still win that, but we have similar style, I think, to the Seoul Dynasty. I think we both play very similar and have very similar strengths. But I still take that as a win. So at this point, we are 3-1. We've only lost to the Fusion. You can play the Fuel. Do I need to explain if that's a win? I mean, come on, guys. That's definitely
Nah.
That would be the battle for Texas. That would be where...
We're taking that one, baby. I'm going to take it right now. Dallas Field win the battle for Texas. We're taking it back, baby. Let's go. Let's go.
That would be the one match against Dallas and Houston.
That one match.
Okay, the one match that we won. Have you... Oh, tell me... Hey, let me ask you a quick question. How many matches have you won against the Houston Outlaws? I'm curious.
Who was our head coach when you played us?
But wait, you didn't answer my question. How many wins do you have against the Houston Outlaws? How many wins do you have against the Houston Outlaws?
That's a big fat L there, Captain.
That's a big fat L. I was thinking about solid 0-3, I think it was. 0-3.
Season changes. Okay, we had some move arounds. All right, so, look, move on. We can go to the next one.
Until I see otherwise, I'm picking the Outlaws. Because so far I haven't seen the Fuel beat us. So I'm taking that as a win. And then we have the Guns Out Charge and the Spitfire. That's are two really tough games to end the stage. I don't think we beat the Spitfire. I'm on the fence with the Charge, but I think we take an L on that because I think we were going to be really emotionally up for the Fuel game, and I think we're going to have a letdown game against the Charge. So we split the last 2 games of that series, 1-1, or that stage. So with that said, we win 1, 2, 3, 4. So we go 4-3 in stage 2. So once again, we're probably mid-tier.
Well, that's stage 2. I thought that was stage 3.
That was stage 2. Oh. There's so in each team has 7 games per stage.
Okay.
Yep. So for 28 games total. So actually, some weeks teams don't play. So like there'll be some weeks that Houston or Dallas will not play.
So that's something to change. We share a bye week, I think, in stage 3.
Oh, really? Okay. Mm-hmm. Okay. So yeah, exactly. So which I think is great for the Overwatch League that they've spread out a lot of these teams and a lot of this gameplay because last season it stressed them out. These are still 18, 19-year-old kids. They're not old people like us in their 20s. So, because apparently that's old in esports. If you check out the memes, I swear it's the truth. So, stage 3 and stage 4 is when things get rough. So, this is where I think that we have to really, at this point, have decided what our team chemistry is and what our play style is.
Yeah.
Because if not, we could get smoked. We go from, I'll name stage 3 teams. NYXL.
Nope.
SF Shock.
Well,
winnable. It's a winnable fight. Boston. I think we can win that.
Yep.
Paris, Florida, Washington, Toronto.
All 4 of those teams. I want to say all 4 of those teams are on my watchable.
Yes, that's the thing. So this will be a huge turning point for our season. Because I've said that both first 2 stages we've been mid-tier.
Yes. Stage
3, if those teams underachieve, we play, 3 new teams in that stage?
Yep.
Between Toronto, Washington, and Paris. Florida, I think we can beat. So we could potentially go 5-2 or 6-1 in stage 3, depending on how well those expansion teams do.
I can see the Outlaws going to the stage 3 finals looking at this list. But again, 4 of these teams are very unknown.
That's the thing. So if I'm going by my previous statements, if I think these unknown teams are at a disadvantage, I say we win those. So, like I said, it'd be tough because if they're not, and it actually proved me wrong, which would be the first time I'm wrong on this show.
Hey, I'm right there with you.
Yeah,
so.
Then, in that case, then we could get smoked in this.
Okay.
So, I'm going to go with positive, and I'm going to say that, let's just say we go 6-1. Yes, I'm being supremely optimistic. We go to NYXL.
You're allowed.
So, in stage 3, we go to the finals. I'm going to say we win the stage 3 finals. Let's just go with that because we need at some point, if we're going to get into the playoffs, we need to win one of these stages and get some prize money because,
Oh, yeah. That would really help out with the organization,
yes.
too.
Shout out to T-Mobile. T-Mobile and Houston Outlaws. Thank you, T-Mobile.
Didn't they sponsor another team this season?
Did they?
I think they sponsored 2 teams this season. I don't know who else, though.
I don't know who the other team is. Whoever it is.
Keep talking. I'm Googling
it. They betrayed it. So now stage 4... is where I say we go back to being pretty much mediocre here.
Yeah.
So I think if we have a great stage 3, we go into stage 4 against.
They sponsored Nixel.
Oh God! Really, T-Mobile? Really? All right,
cheating on y'all with New York.
Right. I mean, we're the South. You gotta at least keep it South. It could be like Atlanta or something, right? In Florida, go to New York. Really? They don't need anything else. Anyway, they already got commercials and shopping sprees on their YouTube channel.
They have their own pop-up store.
Oh my God! See,
which would be super dope if both Dallas or Houston did that. By the way,
that would be pretty cool.
Just saying.
I think so as well. But come on, T-Mobile. We need more money into our team, not you sponsoring other ones. So I shouted you out, T-Mobile, but no, keep giving Outlaws money. Anyway, continuing on to stage 4, I see that we have here are our teams that we're going against: Paris Gladiators, Fusion, Atlanta, London, Washington, and the Kungdu Hunters.
So I see maybe... I'm sorry, the Gladiators are super strong. It's going to be an L for y'all.
Yeah.
Philly, it's going to be an L for y'all.
Yeah.
Atlanta, that's a possible W. It's a possible W.
You got London.
No chance.
So we've got 3 losses here. The best we can go is 4-3. And that means, that's assuming we play our best... we're playing at our best at that time. So I think we're on a high after the stage 3 round. I think we're doing really well. We think that we can go ahead and pull this kind of thing off and make the playoffs. And the Kangdu Hunters, I mean, that's a tough team to end the stage 4 with. I mean,
but that's the old Chinese roster. They are labeled as one of the lowest on most people's power rankings.
I hope so. In that case, I'll count it as a win. So let's just say best case scenario, we go 4-3 in stage 4.
So let's do this because we got to move on to the next topic.
Oh, you're right. You're right.
Do you think that looking at the games for the Outlaws, that they have a chance of going to the finals?
Of the league, season finals.
Because remember, if you place in the top 8, you do have a chance for the wild card spot.
Oh, I think we'll make playoffs. I think I guess coming full circle here, I think my season prediction is, I think the Houston Outlaws will make the playoffs. I think certain teams get a bye, and there's 2 rounds. I think 2 rounds before you get to the championship, but there are more now. There's more teams. Maybe there's 3
I'm not
rounds.
sure. I need to study up on that, but 2 sounds right.
Okay, so I think we'll get to the second mid-tier rounds, and then get knocked out. I think some of the powerhouse teams like London, NYXL, are definitely going to be there. I think Seoul will be a lot better this year. I think I don't think we win the finals. Yeah. I just don't see enough of explosiveness out of the Outlaws. I see consistency, not explosiveness. So I think at that point.
But hey, we do have to say though, there's the mid-season trading section that's going to come in, so that could totally change things.
It could.
We don't know how things are going to go, but ultimately, you think the Outlaws are going to make the playoffs? I think
they're making the playoffs, and they'll make a deep run.
Okay.
And I think, and I'll be satisfied with that. If they can do that, I'll be fine. If we get to the finals, I will be ecstatic. You have no,
hey.
I'll be all over the place.
I'll be right there with you, man. Represent Texas. Let's go.
I will make an Outlaws cape, and you'll see me walk around the camera with it, just flying through the air. I'll be such on a high.
It was live, folks. You heard that here. Clip it if you can.
Oh boy.
It's gonna get the cape.